everybody, hope you're all doing well and welcome to the Doctor Who book tag. So Doctor Who, the Flux, whatever this new series is called, is airing this weekend on Halloween. I'm personally really excited for this series. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with a one continuous storyline over 6 episodes. It sounds interesting, it sounds like they're going to change things up, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor in her final season. I'm not the biggest fan of how season 12 and how season 11 went out, but I'll sort of get back to that in a different video. This is the Doctor Who book tag that I saw Andrew over at Andrew's Basically Reads do. I'll leave a link to his video down below in the description. It looked like a fun sort of book tag to do that's all about prompts to do with each different Doctor and stuff, and I thought, since it's Doctor Who this weekend, I want to do some Doctor Who themed videos this week. So without any further ado, here's the tag. One is the first Doctor. Name your favourite first book in a series. Now for me, I have to go for Cinder from the Lunar Chronicles. I really love that series, but I especially love the first book in that series because it's such a fun retelling of Cinderella in this world, and you get introduced to all these characters and stuff, and it's just such a good setup and a good introduction to the titular character and the way the story's going to go forward and the world building and just setting everything up. It's just a really, really great book, and it is my favourite out of the series. I also really like Ravensgate from the, whatever that series is called, I can't remember what it's called, by Anthony Horowitz. I really enjoyed that series. I reread it again last year. It's one that I kind of find myself coming back to every now and again. It's this sort of like mysterious, sort of creepy kind of middle grade type YA book series that's just really good fun. And yeah, I really like the first one, following Matt as he's sort of in this sort of really creepy town with these people that he just doesn't know what's going on, and it's just quite an unsettling story, and I just love the start of that series, especially because it almost starts almost so small, and then you just cannot imagine where it's going to go after this first book. Number 2 is the second Doctor. Which book is your favourite sequel? I did really enjoy The Wicked King by Holly Black. I enjoyed The Cruel Prince when I first read it, but I didn't really want to continue with the series, but then I heard lots of good things about The Wicked King when it came out, so when I reread The Cruel Prince I decided to continue on with The Wicked King, and I actually enjoyed that one so much that I finished off the trilogy. I really enjoyed where things went in The Wicked King and how it developed the characters and the plot, and whilst The Queen of Nothing kind of dropped the ball a little bit, definitely a great sequel was The Wicked King. I also really like Blood Witch, which is the third book in the Witchlands. I just absolutely love that book so much. It's my favourite in the series. It's just, the author just really found her stride with the character development and the plot and the pacing, and it was just honestly just a perfect book. I just loved how everything is paced in that book and how the characters interact and develop that far into the story. I just loved it so much. One of my favourite sequels is also The Dragon Republic. This is my favourite in the Poppy War trilogy. I just really, really enjoy where things go in this book and where our characters are at and the different relationships they're having and the development of all the plot points and stuff before you go into the Burning God. I just really like this sequel. Number 3 is the third Doctor. What is your favourite trilogy? Now this is a new favourite trilogy for me, and that is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, with As Good as Dead, and with Good Girl, Bad Blood, and As Good as Dead. And I just really love this trilogy. I recently just put a spoiler-free review and discussion about it. It's just such a fun storyline overarching the entire trilogy. It doesn't just feel like a carbon cutout, rinse and repeat thriller mysteries. It develops really well, and it does some really interesting stuff that I haven't really seen in other sorts of YA detective mystery novels, and yeah, definitely one of my new favourites. I also really love the Doctor Smoke and Bone trilogy. This is one that I reread time and time again. I absolutely love this first book as well as its sequels. I just absolutely adore this trilogy. It is easily one of my favourites. 4 is the fourth Doctor. Name a book with a colourful cover. I'm going to go with Wicked Like a Wildfire by Lana Popovich. This was designed by... The jacket art is by Lisa Perrin, and I just really love this cover. I need to reread this one actually and see if it like lives up to how I remember it being. It was a really enjoyable read, and I just really adore this sort of purple with the different reds and greens on the cover. And then one that I actually just bought this morning is Girl, Woman, Other. It's a very colourful cover. I love the yellow with the bright pinks and the blues. It's a really striking cover that absolutely jumps off the shelf at you. No, it's just a really, really pretty cover, and it's designed by... and the cover art is made by Karan. 5 is the fifth Doctor. Name a book featuring sports, and for that I'm going with Light at the Bottom of the World. This was quite a difficult prompt for me to do. I don't really have that many books that have sports in them, but this one starts off with an almost like car kind of race thing at the beginning, because it's set underwater, so it's like almost like a submarine type race sort of thing. And this was a book that I read at the beginning of lockdown last year, and it was a really, really enjoyable read, and I actually really need to get to the sequel. Highly recommend that one. It was a good fun read. For 6, Sixth Doctor, name a book featuring a dark and powerful villain. For that, I always go with my favourite villain, which is Mayor Prentice from the Chaos Walking trilogy. He's quite a interesting character and quite a dark character, and I definitely just love seeing how he's explored in this trilogy and how you get to understand his motives and who he is as a person. He's still obviously a terrible person for the terrible things he does, but there's just some interesting things that really I just love seeing in this trilogy. He's always one of my favourite villains. And the reason one that I read was the villain in Dungeon in Cairo. I really loved this villain and how dramatic and powerful that they turned out to be, and the plot was just really interesting and sort of revealing who it was. Absolutely love that novella, and I actually have a spoiler-free review for it if you're interested to hear more of my thoughts. 7 is the Seventh Doctor. What is your favourite adult or dark book? This is actually another recent read for me, and that is Alice by Christina Henry. This is a very dark retelling of Alice in Wonderland, but I almost liked that juxtaposition of having a sort of kids' fairy tale, but like turning the sort of creepiness and darkness up to 100 with this retelling. I'm definitely going to be continuing on with the series. It was really, really enjoyable. Definitely quite a refreshing fairy tale retelling, and I highly recommend it if you're okay with blood and various other gory and uncomfortable things. Number 8 is the Eighth Doctor. What is your favourite dramatic book? And a sort of dramatic series that kind of came to mind is The Witchland by Susan Dennard. It's one of my all-time favourite series, and especially once you get to the 4th book, Witch Shadow, you know, a lot of stuff is happening. It's a much bigger story than you ever really could imagine, and there's huge reveals that happen, and it's just very shocking and dramatic at times, especially, as I said, in Witch Shadow, the 4th book. So it was one that I highly enjoyed, and it's definitely just a great kind of dramatic series with loads of plot twists that you never see coming. 9 is The War Doctor. What is a book that you read that you wish you could forget? I bought The Tales of the Otori in a charity shop. I have read 2 of them. I kind of want to read the 3rd one just for a laugh, but I fucking hate them. If you've watched my, I think it was my July wrap up, I think that one ended up being half an hour long because I was ranting about how much I hated these books. Yeah, I kind of wish I could forget reading these, but at the same time, they're hilariously bad. So I do enjoy reading them. Another one I definitely want scrubbed from my mind is Given to the Sea, which is a book that was included in Fairy Loot a few years ago when I used to get Fairy Loot. This is the worst book I have ever read in my entire life. I want to scrub it from my mind because the basic premise is there's a girl who is descended from a line of women who must be born, grow up, have their own daughter, and then they will give themselves to the sea as a sacrifice, and this is going to stop some big fuck-off tsunami or something coming and engulfing the land, is the basic premise. You know, that was what she's born to do, it's what she's expected to do, but when she grows up, she discovers that she's got a touch phobia, which is going to make, you know, having a daughter of her own very difficult. And then discovers that she's totally okay with, I don't know, this one race of people. She's totally okay with them touching her, so then it's obviously like after the one guy from this race that she knows. It's very problematic. It is just horrifying, some of the writing, and just, it was traumatizing to read because it's just horrible. It's just so problematic. And I hate it so much. Number 10 is the Ninth Doctor. What book made you pick up a series / genre again? And for this, I've already mentioned it, it's The Wicked King from the Cruel Prince trilogy. As I said, I wasn't too impressed by the Cruel Prince the first time I read it. I liked the world building, but that was about it. And then The Wicked King really upped the game for me. I really, really enjoyed it. And as I said, I did continue on to The Queen of Nothing after basically swearing I never would. And yeah, Queen of Nothing kind of dropped the ball for me a little bit, but yeah, it was interesting for me to find out that I actually did really, really like The Wicked King. 11 is the 10th Doctor. What is your favourite super hyped book? Got a couple of options for these. The first one being Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I'd heard loads and loads and loads and loads of good things about this. Everyone who reads it raves about it. I thought, can't possibly live up to my expectations, can it? It did. I am adding my voice to people who recommend this. I love this book so much. It's fantastic. It's not too long, so you know you can get through it in about a day. I just cannot recommend this enough. I love it. Another one is the Farseer Trilogy by Robin Hobb. This is one that I'd had recommended to me loads. I've seen loads of booktubers swear by it and love it. I'm 2 books in, just got the 1 book to go and then I can continue on to the rest of the realm of the Elderlings. I love this book series so much. It's an absolute classic, and if you haven't read it already, you definitely should. For 12 is the 11th Doctor, What is Your Favourite Children / middle grade book, and that is the Chronicles of Ancient Darkness by Michelle Paver. This is a sort of like Stone Age, kind of prehistoric set middle grade, sort of between middle grade and YA, I think is where this book is described, and it's about this young boy whose father dies and he kind of creates this friendship with this wolf, and they kind of form a little pact between the two of them, and then he kind of tries to go after the bear that killed his father and stuff, and everything kind of goes from there. It's such a fantastic series and such an interesting setting. I love just the characters and the world building and the whole idea of the clans and this sort of time period and what would be going on then, and the magic and the beliefs and things, and I love this series so much, and I just go back to it over and over and over again. 13 is the 12th Doctor. What book is your most anticipated new release? For me, it's The Untold Story by Genevieve Cogman, which is the 8th and possibly last book in the Invisible Library series. The Invisible Library is a book series that I discovered last year and I just fell in love with it. The Dark Archive, the last book, was absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to see what happens in The Untold Story. I'm very curious as well to find out if it is the last book. I kind of don't want it to be. I want this series to just continue on because it's just so much fun. It's completely nuts. And I just really, really enjoy it. And again, would highly recommend The Invisible Library if you haven't checked it out already. 14 is The 13th Doctor. What book has your favourite found family? And this is another recent read for me, but that is Fireborn. We've got Lee and Annie, and they are sort of like, you know, found family who have grown up together from a completely different background and have such a fantastic friendship. I do have a spoiler-free review for this book, so if you want to see more of my thoughts on it, go and check out that. But this is definitely just one of my favourite instances of found family between the two of them, and also their friends that they have in the dragon riding sort of like cohort. I also really love the friendships and found family in The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. It's one of my all-time favourite series. I re-listened to it on audiobook this year, and it's just so much fun just to dive back into that friendship group and that found family that those people have over and over again, and yeah, just love the friendships and found family in that series. And yeah, that's it for today. That is the Doctor Who book tag. Have you read any of the books I've mentioned today? Let me know down in the comments, what did you think of them? If you want to do this book tag, definitely feel free to do it. This is me sort of like tagging you, because I don't know who to tag in this. And are you excited for the new series of Doctor Who? What is your thoughts on Doctor Who? Let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. What's your thoughts on Russell T Davies returning as showrunner? That's dead exciting. Let me know down below. Feel free to give this video a like, comment, and remember to subscribe. At the moment, I'm trying to post a couple of times a week, although if you've noticed, if you're already subscribed to me, I have been a little bit lax and only posting 1 video a week in the last couple of weeks. University is absolutely killing me at the moment. I'm very, very busy, but I'm still going to try to get at least 1 video out every week, if not 2. But thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.